All right, going live, take two. So let's see if I can get everything to connect this time. I think it may be working. All right, I believe so. So now give me just a moment while I pull this up on my phone. Be working. All right, there we go. And then I got one more thing. All right. Here we are. Here we are. Super happy to be with you guys this morning, be it late nonetheless, but definitely excited to be here. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into today's lesson. So let me grab my notes really quick so I can talk to you about this. So, the title of today's lesson is Trust the Whisper, Tapping into Your Intuition. And we talk about this a lot when we're talking about our affirmation and our journal prompt and everything. But a lot of times when we think of intuition, we kind of look outside of ourselves for answers. So we're looking to do more strategies, we get more feedback, more validation from other people, right? Um, and we're putting offers out, we're demonstrating who we think we are, and we're looking for feedback. But the real wisdom, the real intuition lives inside you, right? And today we're going to slow down a little bit so we can listen to it. So, intuition is a skill, it's something that you're born with. It's not a superpower, although it feels like a superpower, right? So the question isn't, do I have intuition? The real question is, am I listening to it? Because we talk about this a lot when I tell you to get into the silence and tapping into your inner guidance when it comes to your journal prompt, right? Because our intuition a lot of times is talking to us and our brain's not catching up. So it can feel like something as simple as a little flutter in your gut or a gentle nudge, a thought of, wait a minute, I need to go here or I need to call someone, right? It's that quiet knowing that there's something going on I need to pay attention to, right? That's gold, right? So I want you to think for just a minute of a time that maybe you ignored your intuition and what did it cost you, right? Because it can cost us a lot. I know I've had relationships with people that in my intuition was kind of saying, danger, Will Robinson, danger. Of course, that dates me a little bit, right? But I would ignore that intuition because I was excited about this prospect of a good relationship. Or there was something about the person that I really liked, and I was ignoring those intuitive hits about something's not good for me. And there's a few of those, but one in particular that was like, poof. And when things finally came to light, there was so much about this relationship that was alarming. There was shocking and surprising, and it had to come to a head. And the interesting thing is, I was really in this place of I was questioning things. And I'm not going to go into the details of the relationship because we don't really need to go there. But one night he was out of town and I said, okay, God, if there's something that I need to know, please show it to me in a way that I can't ignore it. Because a lot of times what we do when our intuition gives us a hit, this is something that we need to pay attention to, go left instead of go right, we question it. No, go lay down. We question it, and then we will almost like pretend that it wasn't that big a deal, or we make excuses for things. And that could be in business and anything, right? So my prayer was, show it to me in a way that I can't ignore it. Shouldn't have really prayed that one, I'm telling you, because then it was like such a big thing, I couldn't ignore it. But that really taught me, because there were several times early on in that relationship that my intuition said, stop, move on, but I didn't. And I will promise you that will never happen again, because I listen to my intuition now. So the thing is, a lot of times the reason we're not listening is because, like, there's a saying, you can't hear a whisper in a hurricane. So a lot of times we stay so busy in our heads and doing things that we don't take time to actually listen to what may be going on. And that's why I think it's really important when we do our affirmations and our journal prompts. I'm sorry, the dog is driving me crazy. No, go lay down. Now he's bothering my feet. No. All right, sorry about that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the affirmation up here. Which is, I trust my inner voice and honor the wisdom it offers me. So when we're trusting this inner voice, we have to learn to listen to it, right? Because there's so much noise going on. And it's like I was listening to a podcast this morning, and one of the things that they were saying in this podcast was, I thought it was interesting, is like when you're like at my house, I have a patio, a deck that is off my my dining room. And when I go sit out there, the actual air conditioning unit is just right below it. So when the air conditioner kicks off, it's loud and it's noisy, right? But you sit there for a while with it going and you don't even notice it anymore. And how many times have you heard of people that maybe they buy a home near an airport, and then after they've lived there for a while and somebody comes over, the airport stuff is deafening to these new people, but the people who live there do not even hear it, right? Our mind starts doing things to filter out the noise, so we don't even notice this uncomfortable volume of things, right? And when we're not listening to our intuition, it's kind of like that noise is going on, and the stillness within, that inner guidance, that God voice, can't be heard because we're filtering out all this other stuff, and it filters out that too. So one of the things that you can do, which we talk about when it comes to our journal prompt, is spend a daily time in stillness. So even 3 to 5 minutes can turn up the volume on your inner guidance, right? So you want to tune in, right? That's what we're talking about here today, tuning into your inner guidance. So how do we make that happen? Put your hand on your heart and ask, What do I need to know right now? And then wait, and the answer will come. So our journal prompt is, oh, let me share it real quick. Our journal prompt is, what message has my intuition been trying to give me lately? What would happen if I listened? And so I invite you today to discover this. So you're going to do like I always recommend. And I mean, you do whatever you want to do, but it is beneficial. And I'm assuming if you're here watching this, whether it's live or the replay, that you want the benefit, right? So you're going to take your notebook out or your journal out. You're going to put the date, the affirmation, and the journal prompt. And then you're going to take 10 to 15 minutes in silence and just tap in to the silence. You're not running all of this stuff over in your mind. You're just being silent. And what that silence does is it allows you to hear. Remember, you can't hear the intuition speaking to you, your inner guidance, in the middle of a storm. So you're trying to quiet the noise of whatever's going on in life so that you can hear that little voice when it speaks. So that's your God voice, your inner guidance, your intuition. It's always speaking to you. So if you take time every single day to just tap into the silence, and before you tap in, just say, what message has my intuition been trying to give me lately? What would happen if I listened? And then when you come out of the silence, when your timer goes off, you're going to pick up your pen and you're going to write out whatever shows up. Even the little silly thoughts that tap into your head, that jump into your head or start showing up, you write them down. It doesn't matter how bizarre, how irrelevant it is, you write down whatever shows up because there's messages in all of it. And we just have to brain dump whatever comes. So I would love to know when you do this, how does your intuition usually speak to you? Or do you even hear it? Sometimes it's a feeling. For some people, it's a vision, a knowing. So what is it for you when you're going about your business and suddenly something says, wait a minute, pay attention? And, I've had that just recently too with pulling up to a red light. And I think I've shared this before. And when I pulled up to the red light, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. The light turns green for the arrow and I'm about to go. And something said, wait. And I waited just a couple of seconds and this car just comes zipping through. Whereas if I had been moving my car at the time that I normally would, just, it would have either broadsided me, which was the most likely because it was going pretty fast, or it would have hit the rear end of my car. And who knows what would have happened from there, right? So it was just this little feeling that said, pause. And it wasn't a voice. It was just this feeling. Just calm down, relax, pause, right? So has that ever happened to you? I would love to know. How does it usually show up for you? Sometimes it's a feeling. For me, sometimes it's kind of a vision, or it's just a knowing, or just like that feeling was, stop, don't go yet. It was there, and it was very, very helpful in keeping me out of harm's way, right? So we don't know. But you can't hear your intuition when your mind is too busy. And so take time every day to just tap into the silence and allow that inner guidance to flow. And the more you do that, the easier it will be for you to hear when that intuition is speaking to you. All right. So, like I said, I would love to know when you come back, and you can watch this as often as you need to, but when you listen to this or you watch, just share in the comments just a little something that gives me a little idea of how your intuition shows up for you. And if you feel like it doesn't, if you feel like for some reason you don't have intuition, I'd like to know that too. All right. So you have an amazing day filled with stillness when you need stillness. And I will see you next Monday, 10 a.m. Mwah. Love you guys.